Welcome everyone to another speed reviews video. I've got 40 things to talk about today. I do show you guys cutaways of everything that I'm applying to my face. I have probably, if I counted correctly, 17 new releases, and then the rest of the stuff is just new to me makeup. That's how I always do these videos, even if I title them new releases. Like, usually it's like half, but in this case I didn't quite make it half. A lot of this stuff is actually things from like wish list that I've been wanting to get, but then also shade extensions to a bunch of stuff that I love. So if I talk about things that you've heard me talk about before, just know I'm so in love with them I had to get new shades, and I want to talk about the shades. So let's get into it, you guys. I'm going to start off in the eye category. All right, let's start off not so strong. So this is a new release from Complexion. This is a new shade in these. They're called the Zari Eyes eyeshadow. This is in the shade Shandy Rot. I did a try on video with this, so some of you may have seen how this formula was extra wet. It's not usually this wet. The formula is a cream shadow, but it's not supposed to be this like goopy and thick. It just looks like it was like squeezed out of like one of those pastry tubes into the pot. It does not build up any pigment. It just shears out. It's really too wet to put on the eye at all anyway, because it's not like drying down in any fashion that a cream shadow should. The formula itself is just bad. These ones are not generally this liquidy and wet. I mean, I really do have to say like liquidy. This doesn't even feel like a cream. It's just a pile of mush in a tube. So I can't review it in the sense that like the shade is fabulous as an extension to the line because the formula is wrong. And I thought maybe it was just mine. I mean, you gotta kind of assume maybe it's just like an off one, but I've seen other creators that got this exact shade and it's also like just mush in a pot. So I think that they just probably did these wrong. I think there was an oopsie. Honestly, they should probably just like refund us for all of this. I'm gonna see if mine dries out because my other shades, they do. They started as cream and now they are full powder. If you guys saw my single eyeshadow collection video and declutter, you know that they're still very usable as a powder once they dry down. And it's super weird that they start out very, very creamy, but they will dry out to that powder. And they'll separate from the sides, but they'll still be a powder. So like you can still use it. You know where like the Charlotte Tilbury cream shadows, they don't dry down to a powder or dry out to a powder. They just stop being usable. The same thing with the ColourPop Super Shocks that are like cream. They'll just become hard and you can't use them, where these ones you can. So this was a bad formulation. Honestly, until you hear that Complexion has put out like a new stock of these, because they probably need to address this, do not pick this up. I really would not, because I don't think there's a way for you to open the container before you buy it. I just think these are all probably bad and they need to like pull them and redo them. Again, I'm gonna keep mine and I'm gonna see if the formula just dries out, because I know that these dry out and then I can use it then. I just have to be patient, that's all. I'm not somebody who likes to go back in store and return things. I almost never go, you know. I'm pretty patient. Plus also, I use things like this in videos like the worst of beauty. So like I have to have the product to keep talking about it. So I'm not gonna get rid of it. I will say that the shade is absolutely fabulous. It's an extension to the line that I think that the line needed, because it's a taupey brown with sparkles, and the sparkles show up on my eye when I get it there, just not really like the color. I mean, the pigment, you know, like the formula doesn't stay. So once they reformulate these, like totally get it. I'm somebody who's had 4 shades in this particular formulation. So I know that I like it, just not this one. They screwed it up. All right, another new release from Patrick Ta. This is also a shade extension to these. These are called the Major Dimension Eye Illusion Eyeshadow Duos, and this one is Always on Your Mind. This one is different than the one that I have that is Still at the Club, because the one at the Still at the Club has one that's more of a satin finish, and then one at the top that's more sparkly, where this color story on Always on Your Mind is 2 fully sparkles, just in different shades. Now, I know when these launched, everyone was like, oh my gosh, $42 for these. Well, yeah, I mean, it's a high price point, sorta. I mean, compared to other things these days, not really. But then also you're getting 2 different shadows. So it's not just like a single for 42, where I do have singles that are like 36 bucks. So that's not weird. I think the Armani one that I just bought, I think it was like 38. So, I mean, there you go. But with this, you know, these are powder, these are gonna last you longer, and they're pretty special and intense all on their own. The bottom one and the top one are like equally as sparkly. So I think for these, it's just a matter of like Do you like this color story? One that is a very, very light champagne-y looking sparkle, and then one that's like a deep sparkle. I think both of these have really great base. I don't think either of these are toppers. I think they stand on their own just fine. So I think it's a preference thing. Do you like this much sparkle on your eye? Because these are sparkly. Whereas the other one, you could layer the two, where you could put kind of a satin down and then put the sparkle on top. Like, these are all sparkle, baby. You're just getting sparkly with these. I would even say that a glitter glue might behoove you in this particular case, because I think that these do have quite a bit of fallout if you do not. But they're gorgeous. They don't crease. They stay. They go on with a finger really easily. You know, these are a very powdery formula, so they're just super duper easy to work with. You could use a brush too with them. I prefer to use my finger. Makes a mess though, but these are good. I don't regret it. This one's just a little bit different than the one that I have already. All right, let's keep going. I've been getting more into sticks recently, so I picked this up from Urban Decay. These are called the eyeshadow cream sticks, and this one is Private Album, which is like a brownie taupe. I kind of like these. When I was doing my eyeshadow declutter and I was talking about these, you know, I was hating on them a little bit, but I will say the more that I got to use it, because it was still like in the testing phases at that point, is that I think it does eventually lock down. This is just a very, very sheer cream shadow, and I think that you really can't blend too much with it, because then it just becomes like a wash. And I prefer a shadow stick to be a little bit more pigmented, and definitely not to just start shearing out when you use it. And I just thought it was too creamy, but I do think now after using it, like, it's a really, really good eyeshadow stick, and you can layer it up on itself. It stays a really good amount of time after it dries down, and it does dry down. And the best thing is, even though it's more on the sheer side, personally, I think you can layer it up and it doesn't look bad. Some of these eyeshadow formulas that I'm going to talk about, one in particular, you just can't lay up. It's just kind of the way that it is. Did I say lay up? Layer up. It's just the way that the formula is. It doesn't layer well on itself. I do think that this is layerable. So honestly, this is a really good eyeshadow stick. I think that I'm pretty picky when it comes to eyeshadow sticks, and I've held on to 3 or 4 in my collection, but I've tried probably about 10 or 15 in total. This one's a really good one. Not as good as this one though. This is from Trish McAvoy. I don't want to mispronounce it, but like, it is Mick, you know? So anyway, it's the 24-hour eyeshadow and liner, and this one's in the shade Topaz. Pretty similar shade to the one in Urban Decay, but just like a little bit deeper. They both have sparkles, but this is more opaque, less sheer than the one from Urban Decay. So it's really just like a preference thing. The way that I ended up getting this was that we were at Nordstrom for my birthday, because we went to the International Mall, and they have like name brands, like their stores in there. They have like YSL, Chanel, like all the luxury brands are in this mall. And at the display, I've tried so many of the brands that they have, and most of the makeup that really has enticed me, I have tried. And I usually know everything that they have in their line, but I've never tried anything from this brand. So I thought, well, I'm gonna get it. I like trying new things. So this is fabulous. This is really good. I don't know anything else about the rest of the line. I don't even know where this is sold other than the display at Nordstrom. But this shadow stick is less sheer, more opaque. It is easier to lock down than the Urban Decay one. It just gives you that perfect amount of playtime. You know, when you're putting it on, you don't want it to be too creamy, but you do want it to blend, you know, the edges of it, and then you want it to lock down. And there's like a timing that has to work properly for these eyeshadow sticks to be pretty good. This one is better than the one from Urban Decay. This is really good. And this actually, I think now is my favorite eyeshadow stick in my collection. I don't know, that tells you something right there. I mean, I don't have a lot. The ColourPop one is really good. The Sephora one is okay, but maybe a little bit too creamy and too sheer. I have the Urban Decay one, this one from Trish. I have Laura Mercier and Bobbi Brown. And honestly, the Laura Mercier and Bobbi Brown ones, I think they're a little sheer too. Like, I don't think they layer the greatest, and some of the colors from Laura Mercier have not been fabulous for me. I have decluttered some of them because they don't hold their pigment. They start looking patchy when you start to blend them out. So this one is definitely one, or both of those actually are definitely ones that I'm gonna hold on to, but the Trish McAvoy one is better if I'm comparing the two of them. Okay, another new release, and this is fabulous. This is from Danessa. This is the Color Fix Duo. So you get a multi-use pigment stick on both sides. One side is a metallic and the other side is what she calls foils. These are magnetic. They come apart. You're getting 2 when you buy these duos. So even though they retail for $38, go ahead and split that in half. But then also you can mix and match these. So if they come in a duo and you wanted to like travel with these or something, you know, you can take them apart, you can pick a different shade, put it on here. It doesn't have to stay like this. So that is really nice about it. The magnet is sturdy. It's kind of just an innovative type of product. Like nothing else on the market exists quite like this. So for that reason, it's cool. These sticks themselves are the cooling kind of cream sticks that are metallic or they're not, or they're sparkly or whatever. And they're coming out in the masses at this point. Like drugstore brands are doing them, About Face. I've seen Beauty Creations. I have the Tower 28 one. Like everyone is doing these type of sticks now. So I'm comparing them against the ones that I have used. The KVD Dazzle stick came out first and was just like this. So it's cooling when it goes onto the eyes. It's very creamy. These are opaque. In the case of Danessa, the metallic is a sparkly, but it's a little less intense than the foil shade, which is super duper sparkly. So you could layer these or wear them on their own. Again, they're 2 different shades and 2 different finishes, so you can mix and match. The formula doesn't crease. It lasts a really good amount of time. The thing I will say about all of these that I have noticed, even the KVD ones, is that they tend to crumble a little. They can get thick on themselves. That's just the nature of this particular formula. These are cooling, all the good stuff about these. I'm a huge fan. I think the formulation was really great in these. I had so many eye products, you guys, so there's still 3 more to go. So I don't think this is a new release from Half Magic, but this shade in particular is definitely kind of going viral right now. It's the eyeshadow single and blushing lizard. And the reason that it is because it's that pink base with the blue sparkle on top, which is something that flatters a lot of people and a lot of people really enjoy it. I've had other singles from Half Magic before and I think that they're fine. This one in particular, you know, it's hard panning a little. Like it's not picking up so easily with my finger even after like 5 or 6 uses of this thing. And I gotta be honest, it's super duper creamy, and these singles from Half Magic, even though they're not super expensive, they're like $13.50 or something like that, they don't last very long. Like if you could kind of tell like how much of an impression I've made already just having like used this 5 times, it kind of tells you it's not gonna go super far. The blush is like that too. You can tell that I have made such an impression in the shade. You can see the bottom of the pan even on the blush. So I don't think you get a crap ton of product in these. I don't think they're bad. I don't regret it. I like the shade. Do I have it elsewhere? Yeah, I do. Like in Indie Shadows, I definitely have the shade more than once, but it's nice sometimes when you're looking for this, you know, you can just kind of grab the single, and I would have tried it anyway. I have repeat everything, so that doesn't matter to me. But in and of itself, it really does have a beautiful, strong pink base with that really strong blue reflect. Again, very flattering. It just pops. It's kind of simple and easy. And these formulas are good. This one is a creamier formula than the other single that I've had from Half Magic before. All right, this one's getting a lot of hype too. The Armani Eye Tints, and this one is 68S. This one has a shimmer to it, so that's what the S signifies. These are good. You know, I've been watching a lot of folks like test these now and like talking about them, although they've been out for a while. So I definitely wanted to try it. So I picked this up at the Sephora Savings event for my birthday. So my husband did end up buying this, and it's a nice liquid. It's not bad. I don't know if it's worth what I think is the $38 price point. I'm just doing that off of memory. It's darn good. You know, it's a formula that blends out at the appropriate amount of time. You can put it down, you can blend the edge with your finger. I think you can layer this formula, so that makes it nice. You know, one of the things that they say about this formula, or at least that I've seen, is that it blends so perfectly. You take a brush, you blend the edges, it looks like a smoky shadow even though it's a liquid. I mean, it's okay. I think it's like a lot of liquids that I have that do that are not as high of a price point. I don't think this is a revolutionary formula. Remarkable, but not revolutionary, if that makes sense. You know, like, could you get this from a CoverGirl? Maybe. Yeah, if CoverGirl had like a shade like this, like even the ones from Revlon that are glimmery that just came out are really decent. They are the same kind of formula. They don't feel different. You wipe off the tip of them and you can make them really thin. The difference is this one is just a very thinner tip than the one from Revlon, but wipe it off, lay it on, It's great. Pat McGrath has a similar formula. Like a lot of companies have a similar formula. Again, remarkable, not revolutionary. All right, here's the final eye product. It's another liquid from Versed. This is the Sheer Stay Liquid Eyeshadow. It's the one that I'm wearing on my eyes now. It's got caffeine and smoothing fruit complex. This one's in the shade Poetic. Now these are really meant to be sheer. They're called Sheer Stay Liquid Eyeshadows. They have light reflection. I would say that they're not like inherently sparkly like some of the other ones that I've been talking about, but they are light reflecting. They are pretty. This one just doesn't layer on itself at all. Like you layer it and then it takes off the color. So it's kind of one of those, you gotta lay it in the depth that you want and just like move on from there. You can blend the edges out in this. It stays all day and it doesn't crease. It's just a sheer liquid eyeshadow. I don't think Versed is super duper cheap, but they're not super expensive. I picked this up in Target when we were walking through, and it was honestly because I tried the Versed concealer, which I ended up really liking, that made me want to try more from the line. I like the shadow, I do. It's not the smoothest looking thing on the eye, but not a single liquid I have in my collection makes my eyelids look smooth. Not even the Armani. So I think this is a good one. I really think it just depends on kind of like what you like, you know? Do you like something a little bit more sheer or a little bit more opaque? And this is obviously the only shade that I've tested. So some of the other ones could be like way more pigmented and opaque than this one is. All right, let's move on to Complexion. I'm starting to already lose my voice. It's insane. So I picked up some older foundations to try. I picked up the REM Beauty, I don't know, the foundation. I have no idea what this is called. And the shade is Fair 4C. I kind of hate this. I saw a lot of videos of people saying that this was actually a really decent foundation. And I don't know if this is expired because I ended up getting it at TJ Maxx or Marshall's, one of the two. But this formula is so freaking dry that it looks cakey, thick. You can see when I pump it out on the back of my hand that it's thick, that it's a really whipped formula. And then especially when I'm rubbing it in, you can see how thick and opaque it is. It ages me. It's very dry. It's very full coverage. It's very thick of a formula. And it just looks drier as the day goes on. That's it in a nutshell. The shade's actually really, really good for me in Fair 4C. Again, I'm not sure if this has always been the formula, if it's just kind of like a heavier, more mattifying foundation that's on the drier side, or if that's just like this one in particular because the formula has like gotten old or whatever and that's why it ended up there. But my experience with this is that it is matte, full coverage, and drying, and it emphasizes things so much. This is a repurchase for me because now I'm like combo skin. Even though I'm getting more normal at this time of year, I decluttered foundations that were more on the matte side and heavier when I had dry skin, and this was one of them. The Revolution IRL filter. This is the longwear foundation. It's supposed to be a breathable soft matte, and it's in the shade F3. It's more of a lighter weight formula than the REM Beauty one is, but it's still kind of a whipped consistency. It's not serumy. It's not super lightweight. It's on the matter side. You know, it says like a soft matte. I think it's more than a soft matte maybe once it dries down, and it looks good when it's first on, but I don't like the way that it wears. I just think it looks drier as the day goes on. I think you have to have like a really good formulation. Part of the reason I love luminous matte foundations because they're kind of a soft matte, or they start off matte, but they're breathable. They sit well with the skin. I don't know, like maybe they're like water-based or something, and so they just jive with my oils like a lot better, or not water-based, maybe oil-based, like I'm not sure. Whatever they're based with, they typically sit better on my skin when my oils start peeking through, and they don't look so dry and heavy. They kind of like refresh themselves. This is not just like a self-refreshing foundation. I think it's pretty full coverage, and I think the shade in F3 is like so much darker than I would anticipate, because I think this is like the third shade in the line. So like for that, I feel like it was a lot darker, like especially in a foundation in comparison to the REM Beauty, you know, where that one is in 4. If this is 3, the shade line just isn't really extensive. 3 was definitely deep on me. Like I could make it work. So not a really good oil-free foundation, even for combo skin. I can still look dry if the formula is too matte. You know, I think that could be true of anybody. You know, a lot of the foundations at this time of year that are a little bit more on the matte side, I will mix with other more serum-y, more glossy foundations, and they tend to like look pretty good. I could probably do that with that one and I would keep it then, but I wouldn't do that with the REM Beauty. Like that's just a hard stop no for me. Next one up is the new concealer from LYS. This one's in the shade LN3. So this one comes with a puff. I forget what the concealer name is called because I will always throw it up on the screen with the price. This one is supposed to be, I believe, like medium to full coverage, and it's supposed to be very serum-like and all that good stuff. Here's what I get from it. It's so lightweight. It has a radiant finish. It's decent medium coverage. It's kind of one that you could just go ham with because it's so thin. However, if you do not set this immediately, it goes right for my creases and like sinks into them. This is one of the worst concealers for like sinking, but it's okay because it's like still hydrating. It's hard to explain. Sometimes the sinking into my fine lines looks dry, and that's where I'm just like, no, no, no. Like the creasing looks absolutely terrible. Like this doesn't crease, but it sinks in, and I've never really experienced it quite like this, but that's only when I don't set it. The reason that I would say this formula is just outstanding is because it's that coverage, it's the medium coverage, but it's also that it's super duper serum-y and it has that like nice radiant finish that can be set down. Sometimes when the formulas are too thick but they have a radiant finish, putting powder on top of it makes it look dry or cakey, you know, or thick. That's really what it is, just thick. This is one that it's like, okay, it might sink in, but as long as I powder it, it's good. It's golden. This is such a good formula that I was wearing it all over my face. Like that's how much I liked the coverage. That's how much I liked the way that this looked. LYS has always done a really good job with a very thin formula with like medium coverage. Their foundation was the same way. The other concealer, the Triple Fix Serum Concealer that they had, I just decluttered that, but I've had multiples of that in the past. You know, it was like my holy grail at one point because it's thin and it's medium coverage. It's kind of what this is too. So I don't know if they needed this in their line. I think it performs very similarly to the Triple Fix Serum Concealer. However, they could be getting rid of that. Like if that's the case, this makes sense, but without it, I just don't know if they needed both. I'll take it though. The only thing I don't love is the freaking puff because eventually that will be disgusting and I will not like it. But so far it's been great. Because it's new, I really enjoy it. And also you can see how much product is in there because you have a peek window, which is good. I'm sorry, that noise I keep making, but that is a huge recommendation for me. If I said anything negative about it, it's really just because I'm trying to give you all the details, but that's a huge recommendation. Okay, you guys, let's move on to all the powders that I picked up. I picked up five different powders. I have been getting really into testing powders recently. I have always kind of stayed away from testing new powders because my skin has done so many weird changes and I've never really just enjoyed that step of makeup where I am now. I think it makes such a big difference, you know, in making your skin look blurred and either like setting you down or like filling in fine lines and things like that. And so I think powders now are just something that I'm really enjoying. So I'm picking up a lot more. I'm actually somebody who kind of likes a broad spectrum of powders now. I used to be someone who would wear powder foundations just to set because my T-zone was so oily. But like this time of year, I'll take a lot of different formulas. I want to look blurred without looking dry, but I don't mind something that's heavy or high coverage. So let's start with the first one here. This is a new release from One Size. This is the Bouchelet Silk Cellulose Airbrushed Powder, and this one's in the shade Fair. This is the lightest shade, and I'll say right off the bat that for the lightest shade, this has pigment to it. It has coverage. So if you use a puff, you're gonna get more of a dense application with it, and it's gonna look a little tinted. So I think it adds more color than it probably should in a shade being fair, but it's not translucent. I just don't think that these come with a translucent shade, but I could be wrong. So don't quote me on that. I'm just like pretty sure when I was in store, they started with like fair. So anyway, I was not going to get this because I didn't think that it was gonna be the kind of powder that I like, that was gonna be like more mattifying and all that good stuff. But then when I was in Sephora for my birthday during the savings event, I swatched it it really is very silky. And I was like, oh gosh, I need to get it. I think it has like a little bit of like a radiant kind of finishing powder finish to it. It's not extremely matte. It's nice, it just doesn't lock me down all day. So I think that if I wanted something more like a finishing powder to smooth my skin but not set me down, then I think this is good. There's no scent to it, nothing like that. It's not overly glowy if you had like oily skin in my personal opinion, but I think that it shades you, or whatever that means. Like it adds coverage, therefore it adds color. Those are my thoughts. Do I like it? Will I keep it? Yes, I will. All right, 2 powder foundations. This first one I just wanted to get in store when I was in Ulta. This is not a new release by any means. It's the Maybelline Superstay for up to 24-hour hybrid powder foundation. This one is in the shade 118, which I don't know exactly like where that falls in the line, but it's pretty deep. It's a pretty deep shade on me and kind of yellow. So I wouldn't say this is like a neutral shade or a cool shade like I typically go for. This is great. This is great. It's smooth, it's creamy, it's not drying, it's a powder foundation. Therefore it offers a lot of coverage and it sets me down. Maybelline typically does good complexion products. I've had really good luck with a lot of Maybelline complexion with their concealers, with their foundations. Setting powder is really just not an exception in this case. Like they're all just really good. And by comparison to the next one that is a very, very similar formula, I would say that if you wanted a powder foundation, then this one is the better option. Honestly, just for the price point and how similar of a formula it is to the next one, which is much more expensive. Now, powder foundations, they can be heavy and dry, and I don't think that this one is. The one from e.l.f. is a lot thicker than this one is. The one from One Size is a lot thicker than this one is, I think, both being powder foundations. Like this one's nice. If you have combo to oily skin, you'd probably like this a lot better than you would if you had dry skin. I wouldn't even recommend a powder foundation to someone with dry skin. You know, that's like not the place that I would start. But for my skin type, I really enjoy it. So the next one that I was referring to, or the next one and the one I was referring to, is the Bare Minerals Original Pressed Powder Foundation. This is a fairly new release, so I did count it as like the new releases. So this one comes in the shade Fairly Medium 05. This has an SPF of 15 in it. It's good coverage. It's so similar to the Maybelline Superstay. Like even the Superstay line from Maybelline has like got to be one of my favorite. They've just done such a tremendous job with all their Superstay stuff. This is really good and it's a creamier formula than the one from Maybelline by like a hair. It's just bouncier, but same amount of coverage. I think I like the color of this better than the one from Maybelline. In 118, it just, I think the line kind of runs a little yellow from what I was seeing in store. This one is definitely like more neutral. It's nice, but it's so similar to the other one and I bought them at the same time. Not sure why, but I did because I was in store, that I would say you could save your money on the Bare Minerals because it was so expensive compared to what the Maybelline costs. But they're both good. So whatever I said about the Maybelline, I'll also say about Bare Minerals. The benefit to this one is it has an SPF in it that the one from Maybelline does not. They're both great. Bare Minerals is like known for their powder and complexion products, so it's like not a surprise that they made a good pressed powder foundation. I mean, it's the first one that I've tried, but I think they've had others. Anyway, it's good. You know, I'm just gonna say, like, get the Maybelline if you're into a powder foundation. All right, this is a repurchase from me, but not in this shade, and never have I had a big one. So I gotta kind of talk about it because I don't think I've ever reviewed it before. This is the Easy Bake Loose Baking and Setting Powder in Cherry Blossom Cake from Huda Beauty. I know these are viral, you guys. I know. Like, I'm not saying anything you guys probably don't already know, but hear me out here, okay? Hear me out. So I've had the mini. I bought the mini back when this first launched. I've had it ever since. I hate the mini because the mini has a puff on the inside, which stops the product from coming out of the little basket where the powder pools, whatever it is. So you never get the powder to come out by having the lid on and tapping the bottom. Just doesn't happen. So there's not a really good way to kind of use that product outside of kind of tapping it onto something with the cap off and then like using what's in the bottom of that like little pool. Anyway, it's not a good component. And one of you recommended that I peel the puff off of it. So I did. It looks terrible. It didn't come off in like a clean application. It wasn't like a soft puff. So I ignored that product for a really long time and then decided to pick it back up again. And I realized that that powder is so good. And the best thing about it, even though it's not the most mattifying powder, it does set you really nicely while blurring you completely and not drying you out. It does all of those things consistently from start to finish at the end of the day. The worst part about it is that it's fragranced. It's good because it does all of those things, but it holds up on itself, which not a lot of powders do. In my personal experience, I've had powders that have worked really good out of the gate, but that haven't stayed consistent throughout the day, where I think that this one does exceptionally well. The Cherry Blossom doesn't do shit for me because I'm so fair skinned. Not a single pink powder makes me pink. I know people have said like do different things to make it pink, but why? I'm bright. Could you make me brighter? I mean, do I need to be? I don't know. The Cherry Blossom doesn't do anything, but it's nice. I just decided to get Cherry Blossom because it was just kind of pretty, you know? Not that pink powders do anything other than like sheer powders. That's just the way it is. You know, a translucent or a white, same sort of thing. But, you know, a lot of powders that I have will have a tint to it, which I don't need. The Cherry Blossom to me is just more like translucent. So anyway, this is really good. I am so glad that I have the big size now because I hated the little one. I would even say that like don't ever get the mini if it has that puff on it. It's just an absolute nightmare to try and use. Definitely get the big one if you're gonna get it. All right, this is also like super duper viral. The Kosas Cloud Set Powder. I got another pink one in candy. This has just been a powder that a lot of people have loved, but when I had it, when it first launched, I didn't like it because it's so funny that I just don't like it when it launched, and I'm just repurchasing things. So when I had it, I had really, really dry skin. Like I was fighting so much dryness and peeling and flaking and all those sorts of things at that time that this powder looked so dry and heavy on me that I decluttered it. And then everyone was like, it's so good. And I would hear people who had dry skin say it, and I was like, what's wrong with me? Why don't I like it? And it's not as though people have stopped liking it, but I never repurchased it when my skin changed. So I definitely went combo oily skin at one point, probably hormones. I don't know what it is. I don't really care anymore at this point. But a lot of things that didn't work for me then definitely work for me now. So I thought, well, if that was a heavier powder, let me give it a go because it's probably something I would like now. And it definitely is. I still stand by the fact that this is a heavier powder, but my face can handle it now. This is not as refined as the Huda Beauty. It's heavier and it offers a decent amount of coverage, period. Like I could see why as a dry skinned person, I didn't enjoy this that much. I could see why as a combo skin girl, I absolutely love it. I hate the Kosas like hard panning that goes on when you have these kind of products, and I hope it doesn't start stinking like my bronzer. And they really could like stand to add like a little bit more to the hinge on this to make it better packaging, but otherwise it is a really good powder. A little bit heavier, I will say, offers a decent amount of coverage and sets you down. It's not as like long lasting as the Huda one. You know, it doesn't look as good and as fresh as long as Huda. All right, let's get into the mountain of blush that I have. Most of these are not new releases, just stuff that I've wanted to try. So I got this in Target at the same time that I got the first eyeshadow from MCoBeauty, the Super Glow Blush Drop. And this one is in pink blush. They had two different shades. You know, these blush drops, I don't know like why I picked this up because historically I haven't gotten along with them very well and have decluttered a bunch, but these are actually pretty decent. But because it's a blush drop and I have found that it separates my foundation, I will put this on the back of my hand, allow it to dry down for about 20 seconds, then I pick it up with a brush and apply it, and it goes on so much better. The thing is, I don't think it sits very good on top of powder. It's not my favorite liquid formula. I don't think it's terrible, and I do in fact kind of like the shade. I like that like poppy baby white based pink when historically I haven't liked it. I think it looks pretty good, but not when you put it straight onto your cheeks. It's just too sheer. I'd say with these, because they're just so liquidy, leave it on the back of your hand, and then when you leave it there for a little while, when it starts to dry down, it gets a brighter pink. And that's kind of what I like about this. So these are pretty good. They don't sit well on top of powder. That is probably the worst thing about these. I think if you're not someone who likes to powder after you put your foundation and concealer on, then it's probably a product that would work better for you. For me personally, it's not a preferred liquid formula. I want my liquid to sit on top of powder well. They don't all do it. I know maybe I'm asking a lot, but that's what I do. No way in hell am I gonna put this on and then powder. I have tried that in the past where I have done blush and then powdered. I don't like it. I don't like the way that it messes with the finish of the blush, because then no matter what blush I'm using, it now looks matte when it wasn't matte before. I enjoy getting a glossy finish out of my blush. So every blush that I put on really needs to work the way that I want it to, which is I powder first and then the blush goes on top. So it is. So I can keep the integrity of the finish of the blush formula. So this doesn't sit well on top of powder, therefore it's not the best formula for me. Again, I don't know why I got this because it's just historically not something that I like. I think that I can make this formula work, but I have other liquids that are better. It's not bad, and if you don't powder, then this is great. Similarly, this one. I got this in an advent calendar. The Huda Beauty blush filters. This one's in bubblegum. I had one before and I decluttered it. Strawberry something. I don't like the doe foots on these. I just don't think they pick up a lot of product. I think it makes it hard to like apply on the back of your hand if that's how you want to apply these. This one I did draw straight onto the cheeks, but I have found that these dry too damn quickly to really do that in a successful way. My chief complaint with these initially with the strawberry shade was that when I did draw it onto my cheeks, it would not move. It dried so quickly. I think this shade in bubblegum is sheerer and it doesn't dry as quickly. It's just different. It's just a little bit of a different formula than the other shades, so I think that it works better. I know that these are super duper popular, but I still stand by the fact that it's not my favorite like liquid blush formula. Again, I don't love the doe foot because I would prefer to pick this up off the back of my hand, and so what I'm doing is I'm just sitting here reapplying. Boop, not enough. Back in the tube, you know? So over and over again, which is like, it's a waste of time in my personal opinion. You could have made the doe foot different and not like that. I think the idea was that you just draw it straight onto the cheeks, but not all of us want to do that. So, you know, like make it so that it works in my personal opinion. Smells like bubblegum. That's great. Also, the strawberry ones smell like strawberry, so that's also cool. I mean, I kind of like those little touches. I just don't love the formula. And also, it doesn't sit on top of powder well either. It just like breaks apart. It looks very heavy. It doesn't matter what brush I use. It sits terribly. The rest of the blush that I have to talk about, cream or otherwise, sit on top of powder like nobody's business. They're just formulated that way. They're really good. Where those two, and only those two of today's try on, do not sit on top of powder well. All right, let's keep on keeping on. This one from Lancome, I don't know, if you've been here a while, you've probably heard me talk about this formula. These are the Blush Subtil powder blushes. This one's in Mocha Havana. They come in shimmery formulas or shimmery finishes. And I have another one that is in Blushing Tresor, which is a bright hot pink with gold reflect on it. And this one is like, also got kind of like a gold reflect to it. This is just a very nude shade. It's beautiful, but not all of them are shimmery, and it's sometimes hard to tell which ones are. So I went in store and got this one. I think it was like the last one in stock. This is a beautiful airbrushed nude blush formula, or nude shade in a airbrushed formula that has like a sheen to it. It's just gorgeous. These Blush Subtils are really good from Lancome, and they have added shades and made these look a little different in the imprint. I haven't tried them, don't want to. They look fully matte. I mean, it's great that they've come out with matte and shade extensions and all that stuff, but like I like these shimmery ones. I wish they would have more colors in the ones that are like sheeny. You know, these are just absolutely fabulous. Love those. That is what, my third shade of that? Another shade extension is from Dior. This is the Rouge blush. You know, everyone goes goo goo gaga over the backstage ones, but I think the Rouge ones are better. I just do. This one's in the shade New World. This is a shimmer one. So Dior does the same thing as Lancome, which is they make some matte and some shimmery, and I'm just partial to the shimmery ones. This one is a very similar shade to the one that I already have. I just wanted more shimmery ones. It's not as shimmery as the other one that I have. That's like an orangey like this, but they're both airbrushed and beautiful. They have good lasting power. They're easy to apply. The shimmer isn't like real glitter, you know, it's like a sheen and a blush that doesn't emphasize any texture on your cheek. So both of these formulas are fabulous. This one in New World is just like a lot less like in quote unquote shimmery than the other one that I have. So they're not all exactly the same with the amount of sheen that they kind of bring to the table. The Dior ones have a lot of fragrance though. The Lancome ones, if they do, I don't smell them. I mean, they do like a tiny bit. The Dior is like, oh my gosh, I already feel sick to my stomach. All right, keeping on with more sheeny blushes. This is another shade extension. Drugstore, of course, but like another one to me, the Maybelline Fit Me blush. This one's in 15, which is just the shade Nude. You know, I'm sorry. The reason that I got another one is just like, I can't help myself. When the formula is delicious like this, I feel like you gotta give some more love to the line. And these are similar to the other two. They have just like an inherent sheen to them. They are very airbrush looking on their cheeks. They're not like overly pigmented blushes. They're buildable colors. This Nude is really good. It's not as like deep as the Mocha Havana. This one for a nude has like a lot of pink in it, but it's gorgeous still, even for like slightly pink nude shade. It just has that really nice sheen to it that doesn't emphasize any texture on your cheeks. And for like $8.99 that those cost, I mean, it's totally worth it to get a bunch more shades in that formula. All right, keeping on with a shimmery blush. This one is from MAC. It's the mineralized blush in Lovejoy. These are the same. Not all of these have as much sheen as other shades. This one in Lovejoy is another like nude, but this has like a gold reflect to it. It's again a beautiful airbrushed powder formula that doesn't emphasize any texture on the cheeks just because it's a powder and it's not like glitter, you know? It's not like a color on top of a color, which I do have a blush that is like that in here that just emphasizes texture. This one I've been wanting to get for a while. I just wanted to get in store to see the shade that I wanted to buy because I have another one in these mineralized blushes, but it doesn't have any real sheen to it. It's kind of like just a matte formula. So again, it's kind of one of those where some of them have that in the line and then some of them are on the more matte side. This one is just fabulous in Lovejoy. All right, here's from a brand that I've never heard of before, but I got an advent calendar. It's from Bisha. It's the Essential Duo and it's in Bahamas colorway and it's a super duper vibrant pink. It looks kind of orange back on camera, but this is a very, very bright, like bright pink. It's like a Patrick Ta dupe. So you do get one bigger side that actually is the powder and the cream is like balmy and way more sheer. I say that because the powder is pretty intense and pretty pigmented and the cream itself just seems like weird that you'd have such a sheer balm. But they're both beautiful. They're both gorgeous in the way that they perform. The powder is airbrushing, even though it's a little bit more pigmented. It looks very smooth on the cheeks and it's easy to blend out. It lasts a good amount of time. It's easy to apply. The balm doesn't break up any powder when you set it on top of it. It is a little bit more sheer and more buildable, but it's fine. It's great. Like as far as like a Patrick Ta dupe situation, the powder is more pigmented and the blush is more balmy. So it's not exactly the same, but they're both great. Also, you can layer these on top of each other. I would say though, you layer the balm and then the powder blush on top of it. But these are good. I don't know where they sell. I mean, I'll link it below, but I haven't had time to like look this up to see where this brand comes from. I got it in the Ipsy advent calendar, which was my favorite advent calendar that I've ever opened for the price point. All right, not a new release, but one that I've been wanting to try from Cosmic Beauty. This here is in the shade Mary, and I think they just call these like their cream blushes. Now, this is such a perfect formula. It lays on top of powder well. It's not too balmy, but it's not like so pigmented. You can kind of sheer this out if you tap off the brush. It's just one of those like, I'm a simple formula and I'm gonna look good on your cheeks, dang it, and I'm gonna stay all day. There's nothing complex about it. It's just not something I could describe to you as like balmy, and it's not so pigmented. It's like right in that in between. So hopefully that kind of helps you. It was a fairly decent price point. This one just seemed one that wasn't like too bright in the shade Mary, which is kind of like a rusty rose shade or a rustic kind of rose shade. It's good. The shade name fits too. Really good blush formula. All right, this is a fairly new release, I think, for this shade extension. I'm pretty sure. I don't know if this shade was in the line, but I think this was part of like the 3 or 4 in the shade extensions. You guys correct me if I'm wrong. It's the Color Fuse Glassy Blush Balms from House Labs. This one is in Glassy Ginger. I raved about these when I had Glassy Palmetto that came out that was like this bright poppy pink shade, and I was saying initially, like, it's the most glassy blush that I have that looks really juicy and extra on the cheeks, but still pigmented and still lasts a long time. At that time, I wasn't hearing anybody really say the same thing as me, and then all of a sudden I heard they were starting to get like hype. So I think people just like took a while to kind of warm up to these. But then when the shade extensions came out, I heard a ton about them because they were meant for like deeper skin tones, but to be a hybrid product that is more like a blush and bronzer duo in one. I would say that for a fair skinned person, the Glassy Ginger is just that. It is a very, very nude shade that is extremely glossy, that doesn't disrupt anything when you put it on top of it. Although I think there are certain brushes that you can use that this will disturb the foundation. Like if it's too dense or something like that. I have mentioned that before, and it has been like one reason that I have wanted to declutter the other shade, but I got it down now. I'm careful how I apply this, and it's pigmented enough that I can go in pretty light-handed. Anyway, I think the Glassy Ginger one is definitely like, you could use this as a blush slash bronzer, but the shade is just warm and delicious. And then I tried the Rhode blushes for the first time after they came into Sephora. This is called the Pocket Blush, and it's in the shade Sprinkle. Another one where I don't exactly love the shade ranges. I found that a lot of the shades were either like really deep or like too bright. This one was kind of like a slightly neutral shade in my personal opinion, but still looked on the peach side for being like what I would consider like kind of a pink shade. You know, I love the packaging. I've heard some people say they don't like these chubby sticks, but I think it's unique. I think it's different. I don't think it detracts from the functionality of the product. I think that these are on the pigmented side, and they're slightly glossy, and they last all day. It's a very, very, very simple formula. It's just kind of that in-between formula that does what it's supposed to do and doesn't complicate things. This from Kimchi Chic is the next blush. It's the Thaler blush, and this one's in Cheeky. I think 04 Cheeky. I wanted the one that had shimmer, but when I got this at JCPenney, I couldn't tell. You know, they come in boxes and you can't see the shades. So I got this one on a whim to see if it was gonna be the kind that I thought it was gonna be based on like seeing the sticker on the back of it, but it wasn't. It's just a matte blush. I still do want the one that the one side has shimmer to it. It's now on Ulta, so I might end up getting it. But these are nice. They're just a very powdery blush formula, but they go on very nicely. I don't know what the need was for the two-tonedness about them. Like you can dip into one side. I mean, maybe it's nice to get two colors. I just really mix them all together. Again, powdery. It's kind of, you get a little bit of kickback, but again, it's a really nice matte blush formula that looks very, very smooth on the cheeks and has good lasting power. Why such a pink shade, you say? Well, because I was looking for that one particular shade and I didn't mean to get this. And I thought, oh, I'm not gonna keep this. I'm gonna take it back, or I'm gonna declutter it by the time I open the box, but I like it enough. I do wanna hold on to it. It's not like super duper duper white based. That deeper side like makes this kind of a wearable duo for me. All right, another fairly new release. This one is from Dibs. It's the Duet Baked Blush in the shade Starstruck. This is interesting. It's so warm, like it couldn't not be warm. It's like one side was meant to be like a super duper bronzy blush. I mean, I don't know, like a bronzer maybe, and then like a blush side. And then the bronzy side is all shimmer. It is so shimmery. It's nice on the cheeks. I would just say like you're not gonna get away with swirling these together and it not emphasizing texture. It's like a gold on one side. Are all these shades like that? Like, I have no idea, no clue. But this one is. It smells like hot chocolate, just like hot chocolate. I mean, it's a really delicious scent and it's a very nice formula, but it emphasizes texture like nobody's business. I think if you just used the orange side, if you liked dipping your brush in that way, which I hate, but you could, they're like big enough that you can, then you probably wouldn't get a lot of texture on your cheeks. I just swirl them both together and deal with it. But like, is that an everyday look for me? No. If I wanted no texture, it would not be grabbing for this blush, but I don't hate it. If I'm going for something that like has sheen, you know, why not pick the MAC or why not pick the Dior or something like that? This one is just extra. She extra, okay? All right, this is a new formulation from Revolution. It's the Bouncy Blur Blush. It's the cream to powder formula. Oh my gosh, this is so good. It's very same packaging as what the highlighters came in. And then what else was it? The powder blushes came in and they were very shimmery. I mean, the powder blushes anyway, they just were like sparkly and emphasized texture and didn't have any base to them. Same exact packaging as that, so I was like skeptical about this, but this is fabulous. It reminds me just like the Rare Beauty ones. This reminds me of like every good bouncy blush formula out there that does it really well. Very opaque, very airbrushed, literally lasts you all day, very smooth on the cheeks. Love the formulation. Love how bouncy and soft this is. And it's a cream to powder. All right, final blush for today, you guys. This is from Gimme Glow Cosmetics. It's the Dream Cream Blush. I've just been wanting this. This is the best shade in the whole entire world. It's the one I'm wearing right now in the shade Flower Shop. It is just like this cool toned pink without being a white base, without being warm. Like most pinks on me end up coming out super warm or super white based. This is like the first one where I'm like, damn, it really holds its color. This is such a good formula. It's perfect. It's better than the Cosmic Beauty if I was like rating the two because they're both indie brands. Like this one is just maybe a little bit more sheer. It's easier to work with because it's like, I don't know, I kind of like a buildable formula sometimes, but the color just does it for me. In Flower Shop, this is like the best little pinky pink of my entire collection. I love this shade of pink. There's just something very, very cool about it. Probably because it's like a super duper cool tone. Again, just like without packing a ton of white pigment into it. So really good formulation. It's not balmy per se, but like buildable. I think of balmy as like, it's a much more slick formula. This is kind of the in-between of that, where it's not like a mousse, but it's also not like super duper balmy. So I don't know. Does that even help? That's as close as I'm gonna get to describing it. All right, let's talk about the one bronzer that I have. I think it's actually a contour from Kevin Aqua. This is called, yes, the Contrast Stick Contour in the shade Shape. You know, I love a lot of Kevin Aqua products. They're all like made in Italy. You know, when he was alive, he was a makeup artist. He was one of like the first, you know, real ones to create his own makeup line that was a celebrity makeup artist, you know, at that time, as like being a male. Kevin Aqua, I think of as like one of the original male celebrity makeup artists to come out with his own makeup line, you know, before his passing. Anyway, he's been published in many a magazine. So a lot of his stuff is really good, or their stuff is very good. This is just a very easy formula to work with. It is such a good kind of bronzy shade. You know, what I find with like contour sticks, doing them for every skin tone is super difficult. Like it's just hard for them to get the neutralness or the, you know, when you're doing a contour stick, like you just have to do neutral in my personal opinion. So I just feel like they don't nail the neutral all the time. This is kind of one of those that's like extra creamy, but like stays still, you know, you still get pigment. It's not slipping around because it has like a powdery finish to it. The packaging is magnetic, like it's all good in the hood. Everything is good about this. It's just probably one of my favorite contour sticks in my collection. I've got 3 highlighters. This one isn't new. It's from Reina Rebeldi, I think is the brand. This I got in the Ipsy advent calendar. I'm very critical of cream highlighters, unfortunately. It feels like a really good formula. It's creamy, but not too creamy. The problem is it doesn't sit on top of powder well at all. At all. So like I wouldn't put a cream on top of a cream usually with blush, although it might look good. I typically will put a cream like this on top of powder and it just doesn't sit well on top of powder. So it's not a formula for me. I really enjoy the shade. I think it's like just the purest of champagne colors, but the formula is just not great for me. I'm just like super duper picky when it comes to a cream highlight formula. I am. I don't keep very many of them. I don't know where this brand is sold. Again, I got it in that advent calendar, but I'll link it below when I find it. These last 2 are new releases. This is a mini of the Fenty. So she just now created the mini of the Diamond Bomb all over Diamond Veil and How Many Carats. She's had the full size forever, but the mini came to Sephora and I was like, okay, now I'll try it. Been out a long time, okay? A lot of people said best wet looking highlighter there is, surprisingly from a lot of folks that don't like sparkles, where when you see this, you're like, well, it's all sparkly. But they're right. This is the ultimate just wet looking highlighter that I think that a lot of people could like, even if they're someone who absolutely stays away from anything that like sparkles as it pertains to a highlighter. It just is ultimately wet. It's like a putty formula. It's easy to pick up on a brush. You could pick it up with your finger. I don't think it looks too childlike. I think it's quite flattering. And I think it's surprising that I feel that way. I do in fact really enjoy this. I will say that it like kind of turns colors when you mess with it it. You know, I don't know if that's coming from the brush itself when I'm picking it up or if it's just like it kind of turns brown when pressure is applied to it. I don't know, but it's great. I'm glad that I got the mini. I do think that this product's probably not going to last forever because it's not exactly a powder. It's quite literally like a drier cream formula. Okay, this is a new release too, but it's also been brought back. This is the Baked Gelato Swirl Illuminator in Gilded Honey from Miss Laura Geller. She had these and these went like super viral. They sold out. Then she pulled them. You know, now that she's in Ulta and she's been like, I think she's been doing pretty good, she decided to bring these back. I think these are a smaller version of these Gilded Baked Gelato Swirl highlighters. But you know, I once upon a time went for these Baked Gelato Swirl highlighters aftermarket to try and see like who had these, and I bought one and it was in like a shade that flipped and I hated it, so I got rid of it. But then when this came out, I was like, I went to her website that day, picked it up, paid for shipping probably, got it, and it was like, what is this? Listen, I'm wearing it now. I'm not saying it's not good. I'm just saying the shade, because it's only in this Gilded Honey shade, I kind of just feel like, wait a minute. It's gold, okay? It's gold and I'm fair skinned, and it just like, I don't know that this works for like fair skinned people the way that, you know, you'd think just like one shade that you launch in a relaunch of something and like it had so much popularity, like it might go right down the middle and hit a lot of people who are medium or light medium skin tones. I don't know if this is for fair, okay? I think it's smooth. I think it's really pretty. I wanted this because the packaging and like the design and the bakedness of it. I liked baked formulas. I like baked highlighters. I wanted it because it looked pretty, okay? But I jumped on it. I'm just gonna say, like, if you're fair skinned and you can't handle kind of a gold shade, then don't get it. If you can, it's absolutely smooth and the light hits it and you'll just beam to the freaking sky. You will. And I don't think that it emphasizes texture. I think it sits closely to the skin, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, if you can't handle like a gold, don't buy it. All right, let's move on to lip products. I got this set here for my birthday from Sephora, so I'll talk about each of them separately. But the little mini lip crayon, it's the Ultra Suede Sculpting Lip Pencil in Rich Mauve. This is one of the best lip liners ever, okay? I think a lot of people like the Makeup by Mario lip liners. The thing is, like, it holds its own, but it's still creamy. So it doesn't like slip around like the minute you put a lip product on. That I hate. Like, then they just mesh together and then you like kind of miss what you were trying to do, you know, kind of give your, like, the outer part of the lip is supposed to kind of stay that way. So creamy enough, but also it holds its own and it's like opaque and like it's all the good stuff. Like, this is absolutely fabulous. And I think I'm starting to like wooden pencils a lot more than I used to. So the Makeup by Mario lip pencil is so good, and Rich Mauve is beautiful, very cool toned. This is not my first shade in this, but I'll talk about it anyway. Rosewood Glow I have never had before in these Moisture Glow Plumping Lip Serums by Makeup by Mario. You either love them or you hate them. I love them. They don't last super long, but how can you deny how beautiful these look on the lips? I don't think that they are goopy. I think that they're like lip serums that are extra glossy, and I love the colors, and none of them look sheer and weird and like they're so good, and all of them have like that tiny bit of shimmer to it. These are fabulous. Again, not super long lasting, but I'm so glad. I mean, I purposefully picked that set for my birthday because I was like, ooh, another shade, yes. And then also I get to try the lip pencil formula. So those are just amazing, both of them. All right, this is a new release from MAC. This is one of the Dazzle Lips crayons. This is in Cosmic Plum. I got this color specifically because I swatched a couple in store. This is cool. These are metallic. You know, the Cosmic Plum can come out a little sheer initially, but these crayons you can build on themselves. And they are very similar to like what a bullet lipstick would feel like when you put them on. You know, they build up thickness. So even though it starts out sheer, you can build it up so that it's not. And yeah, I mean, it's metallic. It really does have like blue sparkles on top of this like bluish gray purple color. You don't feel them though. Like, it's not super duper gritty, and it's pretty. I'm not gonna say it's the smoothest thing ever on my lips. It's more like a suede bullet, but it's pretty, you know? I don't regret getting the shade. I think it's unique in my collection. And I don't think it looks bad on me either. I think that if you went in with one layer, I don't like how it looks when it's like sheer, but I think when you layer it up, it looks really nice. Would I get more shades? I don't know, maybe. You know, it's a metallic, so if there was like definitely a color that I was like, oh, I have to have that, then yeah, then I would. All right, you guys, let's get to the last couple of lip products here. It's been a lot. I've been talking a lot. This one is fairly new too, from Westman Atelier. This is one of the Suede matte lipsticks, and this one is in the shade Rêve. I couldn't even tell you. I'll link it below. These are nice. You know, the first time that I put this on, I feel like it was a little bit emphasizing of my lip lines. I think it's a pretty high price point. I got it for myself again for my birthday when we were in Neiman Marcus maybe? Or maybe it was Nordstrom, I can't remember. But now that I'm using it like over and over, you know, I describe matte formulas in like two ways. You're either kind of a powdery finish or you're a creamy matte. That's kind of how I think of it. And it's a lip suede, so this is like a bouncier matte formulation. I'm not gonna say it doesn't emphasize my lip lines, but it is a pretty formula. This is kind of on like the thicker but powdery-er side, if that makes any sense. The packaging is legit. You know, if you held this in your hand, you could punch somebody and knock them out with it. And the magnetic closure is really nice. So if you like luxury beauty, as far as like a matte lip suede, this is really good. I like this shade too. It's a very cool like rosy tone shade. Then I picked this little beauty up. Now you might think that this is Charlotte Tilbury, but it's not. It's a dupe from MCoBeauty. They duped it really well. This is a dupe for Pillow Talk, I'm pretty sure, and it's in the shade Cheeky Chat. It's okay. This is the creamier matte kind of formula. So it is of like the original, I think, Pillow Talk launch in Charlotte's like matte formula, whatever that is. You know, the shade's all right. I don't know why I ended up getting this at Target, because the Pillow Talk shade I hate on myself. It's just like too peachy and too light and looks like it fades my rest of my face out, like it washes my lips out, where I think this one kind of does a similar thing. So it's a very similar formula to Charlotte's matte. It might be like a little bit deeper than Pillow Talk. So like I prefer the shade just like slightly more. But as far as like a dupe goes, it's probably pretty good. Pretty good. Would I repurchase another shade? No. No. Like it was fine. I settled my curiosity. If you wanted to try a Charlotte formula, like go for this first. If you haven't already tried Charlotte, you know? All right, another matte formula from Win Beauty by Serena Williams. It's the one and only thing that I've tried from Win Beauty, and I've heard no one talk about it. It is called the Max Intensity Featherweight Lipstick, and this one is in the shade Sing. It's another matte formula, but it's like a powdery matte. I think of powdery mattes as like thinner than the creamy matte formula. This one emphasizes my lip lines more so than the other two though, you know? It's not bad. It is very lightweight, and I like the powdery finish of it. I would wear this all on its own. I would just let the lip lines fly and just be okay with it, because I think it's workable. I don't think you need to top this with something. It's not that dry. Well, it's nice. You know, I got this for $5 at the Ulta sale, like a couple sales ago at this point. All right, this is a shade extension too to the Ole Henriksen Pout Preserve Peptide Lip Treatment. I want to say this is my first shimmery one, or maybe my second shimmery one, but I like these glimmer ones so much more. This is in Strawberry Sorbet Glimmer. The Ole Henriksens have a really good scents in the line, and that's what's like nice about these. I just love the glimmer. I do. These are thick and they're plush and they're high shine, and the glimmer is cool. I don't think you can see the glimmer a lot in this one, like especially this shade, which is very sheer, but it matches my lip color more than say like a red might. So you might actually see the glimmer a little bit more in a shade like that. But I think it adds to what makes it look like a high shine. These are just good as it pertains to lip balms. I just think that you get a payoff of these because they don't rub off of your lips in 5 minutes. And the smells are really nice and they're not goopy gross. All right, my first trying Romand. I got this at Ulta. It's the Juicy Lasting Tint. And this one is in the shade Bare Grape. Interesting packaging. It's like plastic, clear over pink plastic on the inside. Now, this is a super duper watery formula. Very similar to what a lot of K-Beauty, C-Beauty products, when they're these lip tints, they do. This one does not tint very fast at all. It's very, very sheer. You have to keep layering this up if you want any sort of pigment to come off. It's not a one swipe and go. And also, it takes so long to stain you that you might not even think it's a stain when you swatch it. You know how sometimes when you swatch a lip stain, it stains like so fast you want to get it off of you? Well, this takes so long. And if you apply it in like a sheer layer, it's not really going to stain unless you build it up. It has a glossy finish. It's the one I'm wearing on my lips right now, but the gloss fades. I say that because the gloss is now gone, now that we're like whatever number of minutes into this video. But then you can see the stain. Like, it's there. It holds up. It like fades off the gloss, but the lip color stays, but also it doesn't stain right away. I guess it's just like what the lasting means. It's a nice formula, but it's very, very thin and very sheer unless you want to keep building it up. And then I think you're gonna get out of it all the things that I just described. So I think it's good. I really do. And I would say that it's a different, more unique like lip stain in my collection. The NYX ones, they're pigmented and opaque and like stain in 5 seconds. These ones are not that. Think of the opposite of what the NYX lip IVs are. These are the opposite, but they're still very, very good. So I do recommend. I don't think I'll probably get more shades in this because I don't think my socks were like knocked off, but like the more I use it, you know, I could be persuaded. You never know. Anyway, you guys, I've been going at it for a while now. So I appreciate you all for tuning in. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. You know what I say. You know what I say. If you're not currently subscribed, I'd love to see you subscribe, you guys. I am out of here, and I hope to catch you all in my next video. Bye, guys.